The hidden Qumran sect remains one of the most enigmatic and intriguing religious groups in ancient history. Their existence is closely tied to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, a collection of Jewish texts found in the Qumran caves near the Dead Sea. Scholars generally associate them with the Essenes, a Jewish sect that existed during the Second Temple period, yet mystery surrounds their precise identity, beliefs, and motivations. Some theories suggest that they were an elite, secretive offshoot of the Essenes, devoted to preserving sacred texts, while others argue they were a more radical, apocalyptic sect that sought to protect their knowledge from the encroaching Roman forces and the corrupt religious authorities in Jerusalem. Whatever the case, their role in safeguarding some of the most valuable religious manuscripts ever discovered underscores their historical significance and continues to fuel speculation about their true nature and purpose. The Qumran sect likely emerged as a response to the turmoil and corruption within mainstream Jewish society. During the late Second Temple period, Judea was rife with political struggles, internal conflicts, and foreign rule, all of which led to the fracturing of Jewish religious communities. The Pharisees and Sadducees dominated religious and political life, yet smaller groups, such as the Essenes, withdrew from mainstream society in protest. Some scholars believe that the Qumran sect was a radical breakaway faction from the Essenes, seeking an even more extreme form of isolation and religious purity. They established a remote settlement in the harsh desert terrain near the Dead Sea, where they could live in strict adherence to their beliefs without interference from outsiders. Their secluded existence and meticulous lifestyle suggest that they viewed themselves as the true keepers of the covenant, preserving God's divine laws in their purest form. At the heart of the Qumran sect's mission was the preservation of sacred texts. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls revealed an extensive collection of manuscripts, including biblical texts, apocryphal writings, and sectarian documents that outline the group's unique beliefs and practices. Some of these texts contained interpretations of Jewish law that differed significantly from those of the mainstream religious authorities in Jerusalem, suggesting a deep ideological divide. The sect's strict adherence to their own interpretations led them to meticulously copy and safeguard these texts, ensuring that their version of divine wisdom would endure despite external threats. The presence of texts like the War Scroll, which describes an apocalyptic battle between the forces of light and darkness, hints at the sect's deeply held eschatological beliefs, reinforcing the idea that they saw themselves as the righteous remnant chosen to survive the coming end times. Daily life in the Qumran community was highly regimented, with strict rules governing behavior, diet, and religious observance. Archaeological excavations at the site of Qumran have uncovered evidence of communal living, including large dining halls, ritual baths, mikva'ot, and scribal facilities where the sect's members likely copied and studied their sacred texts. Their practices suggest a monastic lifestyle characterized by asceticism, celibacy, and a rigid social hierarchy. Some scholars argue that their extreme dedication to purity laws, including repeated ritual immersions and strict dietary restrictions, was an effort to maintain spiritual and physical separation from the corruption they believed had tainted the rest of Jewish society. The sect's leadership appears to have been structured around a group of elders and a high priest-like figure, emphasizing their belief in a divinely ordained order. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Qumran sect is their apparent belief that they were living in the end times. Many of their writings, including the War Scroll and the commentary on Habakkuk, reflect a worldview dominated by an imminent apocalyptic struggle between the sons of light, themselves, and the sons of darkness, their enemies, which included the Roman authorities and corrupt Jewish leaders. This dualistic perspective suggests that they saw themselves as the true inheritors of divine wisdom, charged with the responsibility of preparing for the final battle. The notion that they deliberately hid their sacred texts in the Qumran caves to preserve them for future generations aligns with their apocalyptic expectations. They may have believed that these writings would be rediscovered at the appointed time when God's true order would be restored. The theological beliefs of the Qumran sect further highlight their unique position within ancient Jewish society. They adhered to a strict interpretation of Jewish law, often going beyond the requirements of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Their legal texts, such as the Temple Scroll and the Community Rule, reveal a vision of a purified, divinely sanctioned society in which only the righteous would survive. They placed a heavy emphasis on predestination, believing that human destiny was determined by divine will and that they had been chosen for salvation while others were condemned. This belief in divine election reinforced their strict code of conduct and their isolation from the broader Jewish world. Unlike other Jewish sects, they rejected the authority of the Jerusalem priesthood, viewing it as corrupt and illegitimate. Instead, they envisioned a new, divinely guided leadership that would emerge in the end times to restore true worship and justice. The role of the teacher of righteousness, a mysterious figure mentioned in several Qumran texts, adds another layer of intrigue to their beliefs. This leader, possibly a founding member of the sect, is depicted as a persecuted prophet who was rejected by mainstream Jewish authorities but remained faithful to God's commandments. His struggles and ultimate vindication may have served as a model for the sect's own experiences of persecution and marginalization. Some scholars have even suggested that the teacher of righteousness could be a messianic figure, or at least a precursor to the coming Messiah, whose arrival was eagerly anticipated by the community. The ultimate fate of the Qumran sect remains a subject of debate. Some historians suggest that they were wiped out by the Romans during the First Jewish-Roman War, 66 to 73 CE, as their settlement appears to have been abandoned around this time. Others believe that they may have dispersed and assimilated into other Jewish communities, their teachings influencing later mystical and esoteric traditions. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the mid-20th century brought renewed attention to their legacy, prompting scholars to reevaluate the role of sectarian Judaism in the broader development of Jewish thought and early Christianity. Some researchers argue that elements of their teachings, particularly their messianic expectations and apocalyptic worldview, may have influenced the early Christian movement. The hidden nature of the Qumran sect and their decision to conceal their sacred texts raise intriguing questions about their motivations and foresight. Did they anticipate that their way of life would be erased, compelling them to safeguard their writings for future generations? Or were they simply acting out of an immediate fear of persecution, seeking to protect their sacred knowledge from destruction? The survival of their texts, despite centuries of obscurity, suggests that their mission was ultimately successful, even if their community itself did not endure. The Dead Sea Scrolls have provided invaluable insights into the religious diversity of Second Temple Judaism, shedding light on the complexities of Jewish belief and practice during a critical period in history. In conclusion, the hidden Qumran sect represents one of the most intriguing chapters in the history of Judaism. Their commitment to preserving sacred texts, their strict ascetic lifestyle, and their apocalyptic worldview set them apart as a unique and enigmatic group. Though their community may have vanished, their legacy lives on through the Dead Sea Scrolls, which continue to offer profound insights into the religious and ideological currents of their time. The ongoing study of these texts not only deepens our understanding of ancient Jewish sectarianism, but also highlights the enduring human impulse to protect and transmit sacred knowledge, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. The Qumran sect's legacy challenges modern scholars and theologians to reconsider the diversity of Jewish thought during the Second Temple period and the profound ways in which religious communities respond to historical crises, persecution, and the ever-present anticipation of divine intervention.